Hello and welcome back to Medellin Knitting. Today I'll be doing a review of the Chiaogoo 7400C complete 4-inch red twist lace needles, as well as their 7400M minis for doing lace. I buy all of my products uh, because I'm in Colombia through Artstiga, and they sell on Amazon, Etsy. Um, I will provide a link in the description to these needle sets. I'd like to start off by saying that all these reviews, I actually purchased these products, so these are not paid spots. These are my honest reviews. Um, that said, Artsiga, I have used them for many years. They've been around in business since 2002, 23 years. They have stores on both Amazon and Etsy. They always come through. Whenever I request something, I usually have it at my door 5 days. If there's a problem with something, I can get a hold of them through their Instagram account. Um, they always respond. They are an excellent distributor. Now let's start. Each set, when you order from them, you always get a bag. The bags are quite handy. I use mine specifically for storing yarn or projects when I go into the street. It's a nice little backpack style, and they always include them. Now let's get into the review. This is the Chiaogoo 7400C complete set. Let's take a look inside. You'll notice that I have used the US size 4, the 3.5 millimeter. Those I'm actually using to test. I normally knit somewhere between a US 2 and 6 regularly. So I decided to go with a 4. Start off, I really like the case. The case comes with an extra zipper pocket inside. You've got the large 4-inch tip set cables in 8-inch, 14, and 22-inch. You also have the small set, 8-inch, 2 of them, the same as the large. There are 2, so 16 inches total, 14-inch, and 22-inch. It also has stoppers. So if you want to switch off your needles, use them on another cable for another project, simply disconnect the needle tips, put in your stoppers. You get 2 smalls and 2 larges, as well as 2 tighteners. And the heart is actually to give you a little bit of grip for tightening up the needle tips, which is nice. They also come with a connector. I don't know if you can see this, but to connect 2 cables together in both sizes, large and small. You also get the needle tip gauge, as well as 3 styles of stitch markers. I do like their stitch markers. That's really great when you get into their 15s. You can get them over the needle, and they work exceptionally well. Down to the US 2s, the 2.75 millimeters. These all are laser engraved. I will try to show these here. It has the cable size, brand name, US size, and millimeters. This being a large Chiaogoo 15, US 15, 10 millimeter diameter. Now that we've taken a look at what comes with it, let's take a set of these needles. which I have been testing the size 4s, and I will show you those here shortly. Simply screw on the tip. And I've found with the 4s, I did not need to use the tightening tool, although if they start having an issue, I'll use the tightener. You'll notice that there is a hole located there. You can use this with bulb type safety clips, safety pins. That I use those specifically for stitch markers in my work and also to mark right and wrong side. But you can lock those in instead of using these ends if you're just in a real hurry or you want to secure your work while it's on the needles without changing over to the stoppers. The cables, very flexible. They have no memory, which is a very nice thing. The joints, I will tell you this, on the Addy clicks that I have, the joint is, there's a very big difference between the needle tip and the joint on the cable where they join up. And a lot of times on smaller needles, they will hang up. These, from a machinist eye, these have very, very tight tolerance. Maybe plus or minus 1/128th of an inch difference between the two, just barely catches on your nail. So far, I have been knitting on a shawl project that I'm working on that is done with a fingering weight Medellin Tosh merino wool. Let me show you this. This is a shawl pattern that I'm actually designing currently. And if you notice, they do not, the stitches do not catch on that joint at all. I've been knitting for about an hour and a half each day, and you'll notice that I do not have any kinking of the cable here at the joint. It is very, very nice. These tips, as I was stating before, you can use the bulb type safety pins, insert them into the hole on the cable. If you just want to block off something really quick, you're going to throw it in your bag, and now you're not dropping stitches accidentally while you're on the move. The other thing with these cables, you can, as I've done here, thrown a safety line inside of my lace section. You simply take the end of a string. I actually use white dental floss. It slides rather cleanly through the work and keeps me from losing stitches. You insert it through the hole and literally just knit into your work. As you're knitting, it's automatically threading through the work. You'll never be splitting a yarn. Many times when you don't have this option on a cable, I will show you. You will use a needle such as this. And these, I actually use these for their ebony cabling needles with a crochet head, and I use them for fixing drop stitches. If I tend to drop one or I need to rework a section, something happened, I'll break these little guys out. I couldn't tell you the name of them. I've had them for maybe 16, 17 years. My mother actually sewed me this case um, and sent it to me so that I could throw my needles in. But normally you would take a needle and you would go through each and every stitch. Sometimes you might actually, here we'll zoom in, you might actually pick up a secondary stitch and miss one just going through. Or you might split the actual yarn like that. And if you have to frog back to your safety line, now you've got a train wreck. These, while knitting through, you have no chance of any of those issues. This set comes with US 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10.5, 11, 13, and 15 US sizes. So you can work from your chunky yarn down to your fingering, socks, whatnot. And it is a great set. One thing I'd like to show you that I mentioned earlier, you can take these cables here, any length that you'd prefer. Say you want you're doing something a little bit larger than 22 inches. When the shawl gets a bit bigger, I'll probably add on to that cable that I've got on there. But you simply add this connector in here. And if you want to go to 30 inches, you can use your 8-inch. If you want to go to 36 inches, you add your 14-inch cable. But simply connect the two cables. Each one has a tightening spot, so you can actually use, in the middle of the work, I would probably use these tighteners, which are just T needles. So if you lose one, you can pull one from your blocking needle set to tighten, but you can individually tighten those three. Really, I am impressed. The joints, even on these connectors, are incredibly smooth. I'm impressed. That connector is just incredible. The connections, the machining on these, superb. Now let's take a look at the minis. The minis is a different style case. You've still got your zipper pocket for storing scissors or whatnot, maybe your reading glasses. If you're like me, at times I do need my reading glasses. What comes with it? You've got the toolkit, which there is a toolkit available for the complete set as well that comes with both medium and small and large connections. This is basically the same kit. Comes with stitch markers, albeit it is a little bit less. You've got 4 tightening tees, 2 stoppers, and of course your extra sticky helper for tightening up the cables. And let's see, where is that little guy? Right there. I will zoom in here. You also have your cable connector, so you can connect up 2 cables together. These cable connectors I have found online, also available through Artsega and Amazon. There's many different suppliers there that sell these brands. You can order each individual set. You can get 2 extra end stoppers. You can get extra connectors, cable connectors, whatever you need. The sizes in this set, it also comes with a smaller needle gauge, come in size 000, 00, 0, 1, and 1.5. These are for people that like to knit lace. I'm not going to put on the cables because you've already seen how the cables work. These are exactly the same. They also come with a hole in them. You would need a finer thread, which actually is fine. If you're knitting lace, you don't need something the diameter of the dental floss to mark your stitches. You could get by with a regular sewing yarn, sewing thread, like for your sewing machine. But again, these connections, I did put them together earlier when I first got them just to check it out. The connections, the same tolerances as the complete set. These are very, very impressive. I highly recommend these needles. Um, these are going to be my go-tos. I do knit a lot of bookmarks and smaller lace items, which is why I specifically have these. I actually have double points down to uh, uh, 0.00000, which is, I believe, 1 millimeter, which is 3/4 of the diameter of this little guy. And to give you an idea of the size of it, this is a safety pin. You can see the diameter is very close. The 5/aught knitting needles are 3/4 the diameter of this needle here, and I've got those in carbons and in stainless steel. So if you're into knitting very fine lace, these are incredible. I did use some lace that my mother, some lace yarn that my mother had actually brought back from Croatia that it actually is for crocheting lace tablecloths that they do there to test these when they first came in. And these are incredible. Um, if you're into small work, definitely get the additional set. I would like to discuss one other thing, and I also got this at Artsega. This is a Chiaogoo knitting needle conversion chart. This is their large one. You can buy it separately. I believe it also came with the Forte 2.0 set, which is their ebony complete set, which I believe goes from a 2.75 to size 10. I'm not 100% sure of the sizes on that. You can see that this has both a crochet conversion chart along with which size of the crochet hook to use for which size of yarn. On the reverse, you have the same for knitting needles, so you can run comparisons. Fingering weight 1.5 to a 2.25 millimeter, or a 000 to 1. So you've got these conversions all there, as well as your needles. You've got your metric size and your US size, and then UK, Canadian size. So I saw this online. The only thing that I think that I would ask them to do different is, rather than this plastic is a durable plastic, it doesn't have much flex to it. I would think that they should probably offer one in a real thin gauge aluminum or other metal, in an alloy, just because putting this into your knitting bag, you might catch up on it, and it's a little bit too big to actually fit in. It'll fit, but if you have anything else in there, the case, your zipper hangs up on it, and you've kind of got to fight to get it to close with it there. And then you run the risk of, if your case gets stepped on, you have the possibility of breaking it, and as well, you can see opening it is an issue at times. The other thing that the other reason that I bought this was specifically for this section here. When you test knit a swatch, any swatch, and you go to block it and then count your stitches, this, I've already blocked this and done my swatch, but you literally lay it across your work. You've got your 4 inches right here, and you can count your stitches per inch, taking your your count out to 4, and then dividing by 4 to get your average. You can work it for rows and your columns. So that's why I got this. But other than that, I would say that this now is my favorite needle set. You just can't get a more complete set than this. And many brands, Addy included, do not go down into those smaller sizes that are offered with the minis. You just cannot get them. This is something that I never thought that I needed. I wanted to do a review on it. I'd heard good things about them, but I'd also heard the good things about Addy, and I've been an Addy fan for years, since they first released. And the Addy clicks, I'd had some issues knitting these smaller gauge yarns on smaller needles, and these have surpassed my expectations. And if you recall, I had mentioned that I use these safety bulb pins, bulb safety pins for marking. I commonly put them, one on my right side, so I have my right side, and my wrong side. I can easily identify where I've set this down. If I set it down and I go on a trip for 1 or 2 days and I come back, I can identify, okay, I'm working on the right side. Or if my working yarn was over there, hey, I'm working on my wrong side. But just another little tip that I thought I'd throw in there. One thing I'd like to talk about before I close up this video is this. These sets are available in both a 4-inch and a 5-inch. 4-inch usually is for a person with smaller hands, or if you're knitting smaller diameter projects, say a sock, a hat. The 4-inch needles are easier to manipulate on those smaller circumference designs. Now, the 4-inch, I got the complete set, which includes the small and large. So they also have a small set, which comes with the US 2, the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, which for most common knitters that are knitting scarves, hats, socks, those would be sufficient, unless you're talking about super chunkies. The reason I got the complete is because I actually plan on doing some super chunkies for some hats as gifts this year. And then I also do a lot of the smaller, so I got the minis. The 5-inch, they have 3 options. You can get the small set, which includes the US 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, just like the small set for the 4-inch. But you can also get a large set, which is only the size 8, 9, and 10. And they also have the complete set, which is the equivalent of the 7400C, which is the 7500C. The parts you can buy separately. You can get all the sizes of tips separately for both the 4 and 5 inch. So, like these sets did not, their complete set does not include a 2.5 US, which is a 3 millimeter. Some people might get picky, want that. You can purchase that separately. The case does have the extra slots so that you can add in custom gauge. You've got 2 slots there. So when I say that these are complete, you can get these complete. Also, the cables in both sizes, small and large, you can get 2-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch, 14-inch, 22-inch, 30-inch, 37-inch, and 50-inch. So if you're looking at these, the equivalent sizes in millimeters are 5, 13, 15, 20, 35, 55, 75, 93, and 125 centimeters. So you can get those cables along with the cable connectors, and you could put 2 of them together. If you're 2 of the 55-inch, if you're doing a custom blanket for, say, a queen size bed that you know is going to be a large project, you could get 2 55-inch and the connectors separately and put them all together. The options with these are so great that I just love them. I am absolutely enamored with these needles at this point. The tips, very sharp. As you can see there, very sharp. They slightly sharper than the leading competitor. You also notice here at the shoulder of the taper, you can visibly see that change in the shoulder. Not so much here on the Chiaogoo. This point helps with getting into knit 2 together and slip knits. It's night and day difference. This more blunt, rounded tip, always I am fighting to get into my slip knits and my knit 2 togethers. Secondly, if you look at the cable itself, there's virtually no memory in this cable. It just wants to be. The leading competitor, always wanting to coil, always, because it doesn't have that stainless steel inside. It's just straight nylon. Also, with the way that I hold the needles, three and a thumb, and put into my palm, it always wants to bend right there. It now keeps that shape. Whereas these do not. They have no memory. Also, the texture of the needle, while this is slick and smooth. I don't know if they coat them, what they do, but these needles, these red twists, are absolutely incredible. The stitches just glide. They just glide. No hang up whatsoever. As I stated, the joint, non-existent. Other brands, you can visibly catch. And when knitting in small gauges, this drag at this joint that catches is a nightmare. It's always slowing you up because you have to manipulate the stitches over the joint. Here, you're just putting the stitches across the joint. Easy peasy. Lack of memory in the cables. The connection between the needle and the cable. The sharpness of the point. The smoothness of these needles. Incredible. The other thing, the price point between a set that only goes down to size 4 and I believe up to size, what is this? I'll take a look. Size 11. I paid more for those than I paid for a complete set from size 2 to size 15. Night and day difference. This is a game changer. If you're thinking about buying these, I would recommend that you buy them. I hope you've enjoyed this review. I hope that you have answered any questions that you might have had about these needle sets. If you enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe. I will be doing reviews on the Addy Click Turbos, as well as the Knit Pro new set of Elans and the Lantern Moon Heirloom.